The cooler weather is finally here, and I definitely spend a lot more time indoors during the winter. So I wanted to go through the kitchen and clear out all of the expired food I know I've overlooked and just see if I could declutter and organize some more spaces. In the past, I definitely tried to shove as much as humanly possible into every drawer and cabinet, thinking it's necessary just in case. For the first time, I'm actually realizing the benefits of having less stuff in my home. When I open a drawer or cabinet now, I can actually see what I have. It's very easy to cook and clean, and it just makes all of those tasks a lot more enjoyable. If we haven't met yet, my name is Jen, and I am a former prepper turning more minimal. I guess I've always liked to keep some things stocked up in the house, but then when March of 2020 happened, it kind of got out of control. I do think it's still beneficial to keep some things stored up in the house for emergencies, natural disasters, or just so I don't have to go to the grocery store every day. But I think it had gotten to be way too much. When I first started this channel, it was actually going to be about prepping and food preservation and all of the things that I had been doing at the time. But when I first started filming, I realized just how cluttered the house actually was. Like when I was going to film, there'd be so much stuff in my way and I couldn't actually film. So I was like, okay, well, now I have to clean. And cleaning took forever, like hours and hours and hours of my life because I just had so much stuff. So I figured I would just start filming decluttering. And I thought I would be done in just a couple of months. I really did think that, okay, I'll take 2 or 3 months, get some stuff out of here, and we'll be good. But the more I actually started to go through things and declutter things, the better I felt, the less anxious I was. It was easier to keep the house clean. I didn't have to spend as long cleaning as I had been doing before. So when I officially started, it was about October of 2022. So it's been about a year now, and I cannot even believe it's been that long. I have gotten so much done and gotten so much stuff out of the house, but it's still not enough. This is what the cabinet looked like after. And again, when I first got this pantry, I used to keep it stocked full of stuff. Like you'd have to move things to get to other things. And now it's just like there's room to breathe. I have room to move things around. It doesn't look perfect. It's probably not Pinterest worthy, but it's functional and it works well for us. So just getting rid of all of the unnecessary things that I used to keep in the house has really made a world of difference. I also want to say that I did the kitchen over a couple of weeks. I definitely didn't do it all in one shot. What I did was, one day I would take 5 minutes, another day 20 minutes. The thing that took me the longest was the spices, and I did do that all at once, and that took a couple of hours. But overall, I would just take a few minutes here and there to kind of go through some things. The first thing I wanted to do was go through and get rid of all of the expired food. I knew that I had some left in there. I finally listened to Dana K. White's Decluttering at the Speed of Life, and I don't know why I waited so long to listen to that book. I got it on Audible, and it really changed my mindset about the way that I was doing things. You may have heard of it, the container concept. I somehow had never heard of that concept until she talked about it in her book, and it really, really changed my mindset on what I can keep in the house. We do not live in a big house. There's 5 of us. So I think I was just trying to shove as much as possible in every nook and cranny, every wall space. I would try to put some kind of container to hold more things. Every cabinet was full of stuff. And it made my life miserable because I couldn't ever find anything. Things obviously go bad or they are expired before you can actually use them because you can't see what's in the back. So just going through and getting rid of all of the expired food has also changed the way that I shop. And that has been for the last 6 months or so. I've really, really changed my shopping habits to make sure that I'm not buying more than we're going to eat. So I'm not throwing all of this food away because I do feel bad that we had to do that. But now when I open up these cabinets, I can actually see what we have, and it's just a lot more easy to function in the kitchen. Unfortunately, this was all the stuff that I had thrown away. It sucks, but I've learned my lesson. And the other thing was, and she really kind of drove the point home when I was listening to the book, was so being a prepper, expiration dates are not really expiration dates, right? Like the things don't just go bad because the date on the can says that it's bad. So then I would hold on to all these things and never let them go. Well, oh, it's not really expired. It's just a date. It's not really bad. So just her saying that I could just get rid of it because I can't hold on to everything forever. And obviously, we weren't going through it all in enough time before it expired. So I just had to realize that, you know what, I wasted the money. It sucks. But now I know better and I'm not going to do it again. And I let it go. And I'm doing the same thing in my basement, and I will be hopefully posting that video next week. But I've really made that mindset shift in the basement, which is, I think, where I had the hardest problem. This is another example of just trying to fit too many things in the space. I'd gotten this cart, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so, to try to put more things on it. But really, once I cleared out the cabinets, I have room for all of that stuff in the cabinets. There's no reason to have this extra cart taking up space, making it hard to pull out the table when we're going to sit down for dinner or if we have company over. Now I can actually just have that space. It's open, and it's just a lot easier on the eyes too. Just looking around the house, you don't see all the stuff shoved into corners. It makes all the difference in the world. Not to mention that it's a lot harder to keep things clean when they're all out. I know for us, we have a dog. He sheds like crazy. So just dust, dirt, and dog hair would get on the outsides of these containers. And now if I can just keep them in a cabinet, they don't get dirty like that. So because I didn't do this all in order, this cabinet here, when I was putting the stuff in, I had already shown you where I took all of those cake mixes out. But eventually I'll go into this cabinet and I'm going to take everything out and just kind of redo the entire cabinet. And I just wanted to show you the spot that I ended up putting all of those things into. So now I'm going to go through this cabinet, take everything out of here, put some different liners down on the shelves themselves, go through this Tupperware container once and for all and get it all squared away. I'm just using the Dollar Tree liner, and I've used it in all of my other drawers, so I figured it would be nice to just match it all. And it's super easy to put on. I just ended up putting it a couple of layers in this cabinet here, and it just freshens up the entire cabinet. Here's some of the items that I got rid of from that drawer. Those bags I don't use. They're for produce. They have holes in them, so water gets out. I just don't use them. And some of the other tops there, one is broken, one I no longer have the container for, and the other one I do have the container, but I already have a top for it, so I'm just going to get rid of it. That bag we don't use, and the rice is expired. And you're going to see that the Tupperware looks so much better the way that I was able to get it done. And it doesn't look perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. So what I did was I just kind of separated the Tupperware. So most of it is stored with the lids on. I have a couple in the fridge. These are the ones that we use all the time for leftovers. So until I'm able to find a glass alternative that's the same size, I'm just going to hold on to those for now. But it's just a lot more organized and it's going to be easier to put away. I just have a few things there, a few things there. There's still plenty of room in this cabinet to move things around and get things out. Here's another area I was excited to kind of clear out a bit. That's my dehydrator. Now, honestly, I haven't been using it as much as I used to, and even when I've been going through some of the food in the basement, I actually threw away a bunch of the vegetables that I had dehydrated just because I don't use them. So they were taking up space, and I kept holding on to them because they're still good, but we weren't using them. I tend to just use the fresh, frozen, or canned vegetables. So I wanted to clear this out. Honestly, I'm putting it in like a time will tell bin. I'm putting it in a space for a couple of months to see if I'm going to use it, but I did get it out of the kitchen area. This is more of our entryway area, and I got it out and it just looks a lot cleaner there now. This is the area that took me the longest to complete. Now I had it a pretty good setup to start with the spices, but I think I just had way too many and some of them we never used. So I wanted to go through. I ended up getting these new jars from Amazon because of the lids. Now I love the wooden lids because my other ones with the metal lids were starting to rust. As you can see on there, there's some rust. So I just felt like I had to get rid of all of those that were rusted. And the labels themselves were also starting to come out. So I ended up getting the bottles with the wooden lids and the white labels, and it just looks amazing when it's all done. It did take a bit of time. I had to kind of readjust some of the shelving in there to make sure everything fit afterwards, but it does look a lot better. It's a lot easier to cook with it now that I can just pull everything out. It's all looks the same, and it's just a lot easier to cook with. I don't personally think it's necessary if you're somebody who doesn't like to decant. I don't think that you need to decant to have a nice looking shelf space, whatever, it's a drawer or a cabinet. But for me, I don't mind doing it. It doesn't bother me at all. I do it every couple of weeks, just refilling some of the ones that we use all the time. But if you're not somebody who wants to take the time to do that, I think it's totally fine if you just organize and declutter some of the spices that you're not using, keeping them neat and clean. And then that way, when you go to cook, everything is kind of streamlined a little bit better. So far, these are all the ones that I have found that I am going to throw away. They're expired. Most of them are only expired by a little bit of time, but I did find one that was expired, I think in 2012. That was the oldest one. It's not even opened, so I don't plan on buying any more of the marjoram because I don't use it, obviously. This is what we've got so far for the new ones. Some of these ones that are in the glass jars, I'm just going to keep them in those. I'm totally fine with that. I don't need to repurpose those jars. And then these are all the old jars, and I'm going to go through them, clean them out. The caps I can get rid of, but these wooden caps I can actually just buy separately online, which is really great. So even if I want to reuse any of the glass jars, I can just purchase the new lids and just use those. So I'm going to keep going, start putting everything back, and hopefully it'll look a lot better once we're done. So I got it down to just these 2 containers here for the extras. Here's what the spice cabinet looks like now. These are all of the ones that I'm going to empty out. And then that's all the stuff that's going to be thrown away. I wanted to clean up under the sink. It really isn't that bad, but there was a few things that I wanted to change, so I figured I would just take care of it while I was cleaning out the kitchen. So I ended up getting a new over-the-door rack from Target, and I really love it for the space in the left drawer because there's 3 things that I use all the time, and I wanted to keep those on that door. And it came with a towel rack, which I really love because I was just keeping a towel on the door anyways. Since I've really tried to stop using paper towels as much, I just keep a towel there, and it has like drastically reduced the amount of paper towels we use. And then I put the other one that I had on the right-hand door because the one that was holding those gloves, that was there when we bought the house. I just never moved it, and I put the gloves on it. But I figured if I would put another over-the-door rack on there, then I could hold different things on that side. And then I just cleared out a few things from under the sink that we weren't using and just freshened it up a little bit. Let me know in the comments if you kind of do the same thing, just getting ready to hunker down for the winter, clearing out unnecessary things, just so you can enjoy the space more through the colder months. I know we're working on a couple of big projects. Like I said, I'm really focusing on getting a lot of stuff out of the basement, which hopefully I'll be showing you next week, at least the start of it. And also, we've had to start painting in my younger son's room because he has a room in the basement and it's a concrete floor, and we had some flooding in there a couple months back. So we had to rip up all of his flooring, and now we're repainting the floor just to kind of seal the concrete again. So I'll show you some of that as well. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would love to have you join me. It really means a lot if you take your time to watch these videos, so I really do appreciate it. I was able to clear out a couple of things from this cabinet. All of these items don't get used, so they went in the trash.